This video is intended to describe a lightblade wand named Loveshine, which is a rather prolific, well-replicated construct in wide distribution due to its sheer success. And to join me on this endeavor shall be my whimsical stick figure chakra map for various crystalline components for reference for this vast little crystalline apparatus. So first things first, of course, we're discussing the primary blade band scaffolding, which resembles vaguely a figure 8 seen around the entire wrap of the basic core of the construct to serve as a redirection containment field. So of course the purpose of that figure 8 scaffolding is to work as its own independent containment field to rapidly recirculate the excessively complex high yield capacity into an efficient manner. Starting off with the transmutation ratio seen right here of smoky quartz and hematite offset staggered like so to provide a very strong grounding continuity, which is its own pivotal quadrant of effective successful development for this engineering construct, would be seen laterally like so, like I mentioned, as well as now concealed by this lovely white leather, a band of the same frequency going right here to this lateral band, right here, which would be the handband quadrant, as well as the scaffolding goes around what can be considered the main engine of the construct. Of once again, the transmutation scaffolding, which I'll discuss more in detail now and why it's really relevant to start as a foundational preface, is the aspect of the hematite providing a very impeccable iron-based, strong grounding of excess energy through the root chakra, all the energy centers, firmly grounds through the root chakra, the earth stars, into the earth for reprocessing, in tandem with smoky quartz providing the same energetic stimuli to provide a strong composting of excess energy and essentially work as an etheric vacuum cleaner in tandem to pull all the stray radial energies firmly through the root chakra, into the earth stars, into the earth for reprocessing. Hence that much direct contact with Mother Earth makes a very high yield etheric dialysis that's very discouraging for negativity and stagnant energy to stick in the field, thereby being very much deemed the transmutation ratio, which is quite essential for that purpose of being a nice purification, shielding, ground out emanation, but also is quite contingent to, of course, make the magic real by providing a very strong grounded scaffolding to bring this energy into the tangible realm of third dimensional earth plane, which is quite essential. Hence, I always start off with that discussion for that pivotal purpose. Then going into what could be considered the love-shine ratio seen right here is the trifecta of pink gray crystals, that of kunzite right here, which is a high lithium concentrated pink gray divine love attunement frequency, in tandem with clear quartz to work as a neutral accelerant of the frequency node, going into this would be morganite right here, which actually is a pink ray cousin to emerald, which of course is a beryl family member. What that means is that the 8.5 out of 10, the hardness scale, offers a very dense, strong atomical structure to the dense weave of the pink ray of, once again, another very powerful high heart activator. Then the clear quartz into rose quartz, fortunately a very well-known, famous divine love resonator. So naturally the three together are basically, like I mentioned, a trifecta working with significant vibrational compound interest to be a very powerful divine love attunement stimulant, hence the love-shine ratio, which completes its sequence all the way like so, going grounding back into the transmutation scaffolding. Then down here, the last lateral band to be discussed independently before I get into the individual chronicles is the abundance ratio. So this, of course, has many cousins in wide distribution globally that has performed very, very well based on this particular frequency node, which works as a lateral band that's grounded into the transmutation scaffolding to circulate that particular frequency through the base ground of the transmutation ratio towards the very engine of the construct. With the clear quartz to neutrally accelerate into peridot, a very fantastic third and fourth chakra stimulant, that of growth, or basically crystalline equivalent of chlorophyll. How all this is possible. So that indicative energy is very positive for increase or positive growth, so to speak, which is integral for the abundance ratio. Then the clear quartz going into moss green agate, which is the most stabilizing water elemental heart chakra stimulant in the mineral kingdom, which is quite crucial for actually stabilizing the massive exaggeration of heart chakra concentration. To stabilize the wavelength is to, of course, promote the aspect of stable heart long-term longevity for the aspect of making the magic real of an abundant spectrum, which of course, energy-wise, dictates how physical reality responds. Then clear quartz into emerald, the quintessential green ray heart chakra abundance activator stone of great acclaim and quite literally deified for millennia due to its very potent, powerful green ray heart chakra activation. So the three together, of course, are the abundance ratio, seen like so, to be a nice little complementary terrestrial heart chakra in the body experience alignment with the celestial divine love resonance pitch frequency found in this third dimensional artifact. So then, of course, now I'll be discussing what could be considered the main engine with a great complexity we're seeing right here that's very well built out. And before I do that, I'll discuss the purpose of the white leather hood, which shall be installed aesthetically once this video is chronicled. So the aspect of the white leather hood here is far more than looks. So the purpose of that, of course, is to A, protect all these subtle stones as it's being wielded as a wand on many adventures, God willing, out and about, doing its thing with its recipient, living happily ever after, as well as a way to, of course, most importantly, insulate the energy. So the aspect of having this installed correctly mitigates the lateral stray leakages so the energy is more contained and driving the energy through the primary blade band scaffolding for more efficient continuity circulation. So you can think of it basically mitigating a energetic vacuum leak when that is now concealed to mitigate the energy being strayed so it's insulated and more efficient through the entire light blade scaffolding. As well as once that's finished too, of course, it will have a nice aesthetic touch and more of a completed construct, basically like a hood for an engine. Now, tackling the engine will be quite the endeavor. Starting off with this clear quartz right here that serves as the natural amplification of the entire construct, particularly putting in the realm of being consciousness-assisted technology with the impulses in resonance with the wielder being wielded through the palm chakra to amplify good intentions and prayers. As a bit of a software impulse to the excessively built out third dimensional crystalline hardware, which has its own vibratory pitch designation of being by itself a very strong emanation of divine love with many complicated variables to make it an optimum spiritual. Then right here, this would be a holy trinity of master healers. I call it the restoration ratio, due to the fact that all three of these crystals of star aragonite, seraphinite, and Tibetan black quartz have a unique, distinct vibratory pitch for all three of them, yet their energetic effect in the auric field is pretty much unanimous, hence they'd be called the restoration ratio, and it works fantastically as a trifecta, holy trinity of master healing emanation. So the aspect of star aragonite being a calcium-based full light body activator from top to bottom works very powerfully to dismantle patterns of dis-ease from the entire stored energy of the chakra calm, just like the seraphinite and the Tibetan black quartz. All three of them work in the same fashion of being full light body activators from top to bottom, yet of course as a trinity, they have different variables to offer that full spectrum healing capacity in their own respective way, so naturally they make significant healing vibrational compound interest together. And that's exactly why the seraphinite seen right here, also there's a nice big dose at the very end, which eventually I will work myself to a thorough dissertation. Then right here is a rather far out aspect that's quite integral and crucial for this comprehensive function of this construct of smoky celestial quartz. So smoky quartz, like mentioned, the blade band by itself as a mineral is a very fantastic grounder of energy into the earth for reprocessing to make a very strong earth energy attunement to the personal auric field. Then the aspect of the celestial growth structure has a very critical, and no matter how you slice it, even trying to maintain somewhat of a semblance of coherence and linearity for this conversation I'm having with myself about this construct, very far out. So the aspect of the growth structure works as a auto-regulator frequency pitch of the entire construct that works in tandem with all these crystals, of course, to provide a very powerful regulator, adaptogen frequency, and a surge protector governor that makes it completely in the comfortable realm of the highest pitch frequency that adapts to the wielder to, of course, put this in a premium, I guess you could say, quantum superposition equilibrium at a quantum moment's notice for the highest good for the recipient of moment to moment to ensure the frequency pitch is rather regulated and perfectly ingestible, energetically speaking, for the recipient at a moment's notice. Like I mentioned, rather challenging to discuss it in a rational, linear fashion, for it is very far out inherently. Moving on. So to support the aspect of intensive purification seen right here would be the two combinations of black-gray crystals of shungite right here, which is a very in vogue black-gray crystal carbon-based nature to purify negativity into positivity through high earth resonance, just like the transmutation ratio. And the aspect of shungite, of course, is a carbon-based compatible with our carbon-based physical avatars for now, deep cellular atomical transmutation reformation, which is quite famous for mitigation of harmful wavelengths we contend with as a modern species, such as 5G, all the cell phone towers, those kind of things. Then in tandem with black tourmaline, another famous black-gray crystal turning negativity into positivity, transmutation, if you would, works in tandem to be a very strong grounding and purification of negativity into positivity even further. And this next section I'll discuss in one shot, hence their integral playing off each other is quite prolifically important, is the jaspers and agates seen here in this cluster. So the aspect of the jaspers and agates are the most stable vibrations based on the color spectrum stimulation as well as the elemental composition. So, for example, red jasper is the most stabilizing root chakra earth stimulant in the mineral kingdom, in tandem with fire agate, the most stabilizing solar plexus, sacrum, and root chakra fire energy stabilized in the mineral kingdom. Then moss green agate, the most stable water frequency in the mineral kingdom. Then blue lace agate, the most stable fifth chakra water elemental stabilized in the mineral kingdom. Then grape agate, seen right here, which is actually air, violet, 6th and 7th stabilized. So basically what that means, of course, for the entire compound interest of longevity would be an immersive stabilization of the four terrestrial elements of earth, fire, water, and wind in the most stable varieties I can get my hands on as a backbone aspect of this entire dynamics superconductor. Then right here, this would be amber. Though not technically a mineral, it's a prehistoric tree sap that is another very solar agent of transmutation to turn negativity into positivity with a very sunny disposition. Then above that would be lepidolite, which is a very lovely, very high-bearing lithium-potassium combination crystal, which is a very powerfully soothing system to the emotional body and the nervous system in the mineral kingdom, which brings a very powerful oasis of calm generation energy, which of course will be many supporting elements. So back that feature, which will eventually be discussed. But, of course, there is an overarching theme of various crystals working in combination to generate a very soothing divine love, Loveshine, base vibration output. Then right here, this would be flint, a very powerful earth elemental alignment of intensive earth star grounding into the earth for reprocessing. Hence the First Nation utilization to literally use a magic rock to make magic tools was very prolific. And the aspect of flint is very powerful for grounding the entirety of the higher chakras firmly through the root, but most importantly, a very primordial, powerful earth star stimulant to ground into the earth for reprocessing to ground all the excess energy further into tangibility. Then right here, these two gold ray crystals work fantastic in tandem, with both being golden healer quartz and golden azeztolite to work as a premium high heart direct gold white light source attunement frequency. So obviously that has very powerful implications of putting the source in sorcery, if you would, as my favorite joke to employ. But that double concentration of gold ray attunement to the divine source of creation could, of course, put this in the realm of being a bit of a holy grail resonator and a third-dimensional artifact with direct source attunement with the Loveshine working in tandem is very conducive to good vibrations, to put it lightly, as I move on. Then right here, this would be black tektite, which is the product of meteorite impacting sand. So basically, of course, that is a heaven-to-earth frequency made manifest, such as the aspect of a meteorite impacting sand, carrying that extraterrestrial jolt into creation. And luckily, it's a black-gray crystal of very high vibratory threshold pitch, so very fortuitously, it raises vibrations from the base scaffolding all the way up to raise from the foundational sense the entire auric field's vibratory threshold. Then right here, this would be oceanic calcite, which is actually calcite that's been tumbled by the ocean that yours truly gathered himself on his journey in the Oregon coast. So the aspect of calcite is a very fantastic, underrated, full, clear of negative energy from top to bottom of stagnancies. But the aspect that makes it truly remarkable and literally noteworthy for this dissertation is the aspect that the ocean over hundreds, millennia, God literally knows, has tumbled this crystal over countless waves, so the indelible mark of the oceanic energy attunement is now found here in the structure of the ocean's clearing capacity. Then right here is a bit of a specialty crystal from the ruby city of Sedona, Arizona. This right here is fulgurite, which is basically lightning striking sand carrying the energy of lightning in a crystalline silicate amplification containment, which was well utilized by shamans of antiquity to intensify their prayers. So naturally, the power of lightning is quite immersive and activating for the entire energy body. It's literally harnessing the power of lightning in a very divine love apparatus, which is quite potent in the capacity and to amplify prayers and clear any stagnancies from top to bottom. Very, very, very potent magical stuff. Then moving on, like I mentioned, the transmutation ratio seen laterally like so. It goes underneath this quadrant right here to meet right here. And now I'll be discussing the blade facing and the business end of the construct in general. But first, I'll be discussing the thumb engagement with my trusty prop to help me illustrate. So like I just mentioned, the imply to engage the thumb like so to complete the circuit would be its own little complicated subroutine, such as a clear quartz base seen right here to work as a neutral amplification of the thumb engagement with moldavite affixed to it, which is a quintessential green ray dharmic accelerant of high notoriety, as well as quite the acclaim in this day and age of being a very powerful crystal of magic. So the aspect of moldavite essentially also works as a very powerful alignment of one's dharmic template made physical into the reality of creation. So that goes for a very long way for high synchronicities and, of course, harken back to one's divine blueprint manifest. Then right here will be Libyan gold tektite next to that in the thumb engagement, which actually I fondly refer to as goldavite because of its very high yield cosmic gold ray cousin to moldavite emanation that was enjoyed by the pharaohs of antiquity in ancient Egypt as a magical, powerful crystal to be utilized. And just going to go ahead and keep moving on to the relevancy here, but the aspect of moldavite and the Libyan gold tektite have a very powerful heart chakra stimulation, with the Libyan gold tektite being a very premier, powerful solar plexus sacrum sovereign stimulant of very powerful gold ray illumination that's very, very encouraging for enthusiasm as a quintessential, quite simply, antidepressant, feeling good kind of vibration. Then, I did forget to mention this, and the blade band seen around it right here will be that of the coherence ratio, developed to be very much a mental coherence alignment that's very conducive towards clear thinking, with clear quartz as a neutral accelerant into lapis lazuli, seen right here, which is a very powerful air elemental, 5th and 6th chakra stimulant of sovereign capacity, well enjoyed by ancient Egypt as well. And the lore goes on with that magical blue stone of being a favorite of millions for thousands of years, but I'm going to move on. Then the clear quartz goes into fluorite, which is a very fantastic bringer of order out of chaos, vibrationally speaking, to provide very harmonic left and right hemisphere alignment, to mitigate cross interferences, to have whole brain thinking, aka awaken third eye, see things clearly, and mitigate electromagnetic interference. Anyway, moving on, enough Christianese, just trying to keep things relevant to catalog. And then, of course, the blade face seen right here has been developed to be as symmetrical as absolutely possible for just even vibratory emanation. Starting off with scolecite, which is a quintessential white ray crystal of divinity well employed in my life's work, for the aspect of being a very, very soothing divine alignment crystal of the 6th, 7th, 8th non-physical chakras back to one's Godhead from very, very divine soothing peace emanation, which is also very, very conducive towards one's highest alignment to Creator, so to speak, or our Godhead, perspective of having the witness self. So it's also a very, very tremendously calming divine orientation crystal. It's very conducive to being in a very peaceful disposition by emanation. Then right here will be a love currency seen on both sides that has been commissioned into existence by the wonderful Wizard of Sedona, Mr. Stephen A. Ross, who I've had the privilege of working with for years now, of basically consistent reproduction of crystalline apparatuses around this love coin that are now in wide global distribution, which I will omit many things to keep things relevant for cataloging, but the point is that this particular love currency has been affixed to many various crystalline constructs in the last 3 years of basically very immersive endeavor, which has promoted its amplification as a modern sigil of magic to be quite amplified through a morphic field of very significant vibrational compound interest, quite literally in prolific global distribution. It's quite significantly awesome. And I do my best, of course, not nerd out as much as possible to keep things relevant for any one of these dissertations for any privilege I have of crafting one of these constructs. But the aspect that's relevant here is that that is a timeless message that says with love, in love, and through love. And to, of course, assist maintaining that, to maintain a beautiful heart, an open mind, and a humble spirit. So that's the aspect, too, why this message is quite prolific and obviously timeless, and I consider one of those few and far between absolute truths of mastery and creation. And above that, on both ends, would be very lovely specimens of turquoise, which, of course, turquoise is a very famous crystal of great praise for millions over thousands of years for a very good reason. Besides its very powerful, striking beauty, its legendary lore goes on, which I will omit intentionally because that would take probably 10 minutes of me nerding out straight about its magical connotations and application across our recorded history. But anyway, the aspect of turquoise is an impeccable fifth chakra stimulant of wholeness and full pranic stimulation, drawing upon the aspects of the four terrestrial elements of earth, fire, water, and air through a fifth chakra focus of wholeness, which is also very conducive to general healing of vibrations and pranic stimulation to the auric field as well. It's quite the legendary, amazing, beautiful crystal for a very good reason, hence its accolades precede it, and that's why it has a very dominant, obvious showcasing in this construct. At the very apex of the wand itself would be that of a larger piece of seraphinite, like mentioned in the Holy Trinity down here of Master Healers. Seraphinite is a lovely green ray crystal named after the seraphim archangels, like I mentioned. It is a tremendous master healer crystal that heals the entire auric pattern to its ideal configuration from top to bottom. Hence, its employment twice for further amplification of that restorative field was quite essential in this construct. Then next to that would be Larimar, a very fabulous water and fire elemental concentration, paradoxically, that has a very potent oasis of calm generator of fifth and sixth chakra stimulation, which is another massive oasis of soothing, calming, cooling energy. Seen at the very apex as well to be quintessential, really very, very calming to the system in a vibratory spectrum, speaking-wise. Then, I'll be discussing the tail end of this construct's dissertation, getting pretty close here. So all these crystals, of course, have been affixed around a primary core of oak from here in Sedona, Arizona, which is actually from a location that is north of town next to a creek of Oak Creek. So oak, of course, is a very legendary wood that has its great acclaim in magical lore, which I will omit once again to keep things somewhat relevant with this very high-paced, far-out dissertation. But the aspect of oak also being a carbon-based, strong weave also is very energetically compatible with the carbon-based physical avatar to provide a very strong, strengthened carbon structure for the auric field to attune to. And most importantly, the core of oak also provides a very powerful transference for all the silica emission built around it, aka crystal energy, in a sequence to have the core of oak takes this entire exotic frequency pitch and further aligns it with the physicality of the human avatar to make a direct resonance to, of course, encourage the magic reel to bring this high frequency radial into tangibility of the third dimensional plane to make it real. Then next to the oak on both sides would be selenite, seen right here. So I always discuss the selenites and kyanites and focalizers for last because they're quite integral for the comprehensive capstone. So the aspect of selenite, seen right here, the white crystal hewn to both sides of the oak core, is quite crucial for the purpose of, by itself, being a master healer of very, very powerful higher chakra activation to clear debris between one's conscious self, the 6th, 7th, 8th non-physical chakras back to one's Godhead attunement of source creation. And with that high frequency clearing of debris, of negativity between one's self and one's divinity, is quite advantageous, obviously, for the spiritual adept seeker. But the aspect also, with that high frequency induction, also provides a very powerful purification of stagnant energies that are not of one's highest divine template. So that's by itself fabulous, of course. But where it truly shines is in this 25.5 minutes of straight crystalline rant right now is the purpose of running in a closed loop sequence of all of these crystals well discussed thus far. It can take the entire frequency pitch of this apparatus. It can work to purify all of these crystals. It can work to amplify all these crystals, but always most importantly, it can also work to bring harmonization and equilibrium to the entire frequency pitch, which is, in my opinion, always a very dynamic, effective spirit tool. So that's why they're there with great providence. Then the 4 spectrums of kyanite seen right here are quite integral as well for rapid transference of energy. So the aspect of the kyanites are the most rapid mineral kingdom transfers at literally the speed of quantum light at a very high ratio. So the aspect of the kyanites are so rapid transference, I will employ my whimsically fast penmanship to do my best to illustrate the concept of the rapid energy reroutes these guys provide. So black kyanite is the most rapid grounder of energy through the root chakra earth stars, absolutely quick as possible, to rapidly work like a surge protector to ensure the frequency pitch is always getting into the earth, making its mark no matter what. To have a high vibratory load through this entire construct, then ground it at the speed of quantum light obviously is absolutely essential. Then the orange kyanite is very, very encouraging for the sacrum's highest capacity to bridge past limitations of creativity that block ones from their divine template. Then the green kyanite is very effective for rapid heart chakra transferences to bridge past any habitual blockage points that would be blocking one's receptivity of divine love by design. Then the blue kyanite right here is very effective for the third eye's highest stimulation to mitigate cross interference between the left and right hemispheres, aka whole brain thinking, aka the awakened third eye, at a very high ratio. Then, of course, the aspect, too, of a practical, pragmatic application of efficiency is the 4 spectrums of kyanite reroute and rebuffer the energy field so quickly that it's like another layer of etheric Teflon that's, once again, highly discouraging for negative stagnant energies to stick to the field from top to bottom at literally the speed of quantum light. To reroute, rebuffer so quickly, any intrusive bombardment energies would be very discouraged to actually maintain that much divine love in motion transferring. And I cleared my throat for that one. So next, we'll be discussing the focalizer crystals. So of course, in this entire dissertation, all of these crystals mentioned somehow, some way, have been grounded to a central primary wire, seen right here as a main vein of copper, brass, and silver spooled together to be a very even diffuser triangulation of the 3 metal bandwidths for the intake, the output, and the earth frequencies of brass, silver, and copper. So that, of course, is the under vein, so to speak, of the circuit running sequence before the containment band right here of the figure 8 smooths out the pitch, very much an homage to infinity, to recirculate the energy to work as a very perpetual energetic recirculation containment field for maximum efficiency. So the aspect why I discuss that again is that these focalizers have been affixed to the outer blade band of the primary output of Loveshine for the purpose of focusing the energy, just like the focalizer I mentioned is, of course, discussed, to be a further way to direct the excessively high yield concentration of reactive energy to, for example, ground it, direct it towards this tree right here, my buddy outside, so it gives more of a sharper focus of energy pitch to discharge more efficiently. Through radial focus of the 2 focalizer sets right here. That would be titanium aura quartz, which is a modern man-made alchemical triumph, as far as I'm concerned. That's, of course, by many crystal connoisseurs don't like it because it's not quite natural, but it indeed is a great, powerful imbuement of quartz with titanium pressure-coated it to amplify that titanium energy, which is very strengthening to our entire rainbow light body in general, and very fortifying and very shielding and very insulating, which is very, very advantageous for high sentient beings, such as myself, so to speak, to insulate the field, to not be consistently bombarded by excessive radial energy at all times. This is where it becomes quite advantageous also to, of course, use the titanium to further focus and strengthen the absolute business end of the construct seen right here. So the aspect of the golden healer quartz, like I mentioned down here in the engine, actually is found here in these quartz points. So it gives that nice direct gold white light high heart source attunement through the end focus of the blade's emanation business end, basically. And so, of course, that aspect also provides a neutral amplification that is very, very powerful for the focus of further divine love resonance amplification. Well, I believe that would be pretty comprehensive. That would be the Loveshine wand, yet another rendition that's developed to be quite the dynamic, all-encompassing Swiss Army knife of light tech to hit every octave with primarily a divine love focus, with many variables running throughout the entire sequence to be very advantageous towards that reality's manifestation. And yeah, that would be it. 1,000 blessings.